Welcome back to Talk of the Town. Joining me now is Beverly Bowers-Jennings, and she has written a book called Shrimp Tales, Small Bites of History. Welcome. I'm excited to learn about your book, and she brought me a present today, so that's always exciting, a little mug about her book. So talk to us a little bit about the book and how you decided to do this, the background of it, why now to write this book?
Shrimp Tales, Small Bites of History is an extension of exhibits that I did for the Port Royal Sound Foundation Maritime Center on the history of oystering, shrimping, and crabbing. And there wasn't a lot of information about shrimping. So I decided that the people were so wonderful I had interviewed and filmed that it would be fun to use some of those pictures and do more research. And I just had a great time meeting these people, and they shared so much information, their personal photographs, and that's how this book began.
Well, obviously it's such an important part of our history, but also, it continues to today. So it's a very relevant topic for the Lowcountry. Tell us a little bit about the format of this particular book. This
particular book is divided into 9 chapters. And 7 of those chapters are on seaport areas. It begins in St. Augustine and Fernandina, where shrimping began in the early 1900s. Before that, shrimp was eaten by the coastal people, but it wasn't sold, and it was not well thought of. And the Sicilians and the Portuguese who arrived in Florida decided to use their methods of fishing, and one year there weren't very many fish, so they were trying to figure out what to do with these shrimp, and that was the beginning of it. Some of them anglicized their names and really worked hard, and they started following the shrimp as they moved up the coast, and my book follows that way. It goes up to Thunderbolt and Savannah. At one time, they had over 150 boats in Thunderbolt.
Wow.
It was a place that boats were launched and built, and families like the Majonis and the Amboses and the Cicerones, who became the Matthews, they're all still in business.
Wow.
And the Majonis and the Amboses celebrated 50 years in 2020.
Wow.
So there's a lot of history there. They had processing plants. They had people who shucked, peeled the shrimp, and they processed the shrimp there. They had factories that made baskets, and there was a lot going on in the Thunderbolt area. And then we move up the coast to Port Royal, which was a very deep port, second deepest up on the Chesapeake. And the railroad was extended to Port Royal, which was a huge help to the shrimpers, because in the mid-1800s, the railroad cars were refrigerated. They put ice in the top of the cars, and the shrimpers were able to ice down their barrels and put them on the trains and ship them up to New York to Fulton markets, and after that they started shipping as far as California.
Amazing. And I don't want to interrupt you, but we only have about a minute left, and I know we could talk for another hour or two because there's so much to get to. But I know that you have a special place that these proceeds are going, so I want to make sure you get that in.
Yes. The South Carolina Seafood Alliance is the benefactor of this, because so many of the shrimpers gave me their information, and I felt that I wanted to help them. And I'm trying to preserve the history of the shrimping industry.
Right, absolutely. Yes. And I think that's so important, and what a great way to give back. How can we find your book?
My book is in a lot of local stores. Here on the island, you can go to Letters in Bluffton, the Gifted, Publix, Coastal Discovery Museum, the Port Royal Sound Museum, Four Corners, Great Frame Up, Mameen and Maudie, It's in a lot of the
It's in a lot of
stores.
places. Well,
Yes.
thank you so much for being here to share with us about that. It sounds fascinating. I can't wait to read it myself. And thank you for my mug. And we'll be right back with more Talk of the Town.